so interesting.
So interesting.
So engrossing.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
We're changing one more page at a time.
Yes, one more page. I don't know exactly, and we're spellbound by the knowledge that is within these hallowed tomes, which are
Exactly.
very important books for the games that we're playing today. The game that we're playing today.
The game. So
The game that we're playing today. Why this is important should be revealed along the way.
yes.
I'm actually entangled in all sorts of wires and
Yeah.
Generally in a kerfuffle because we started 10 minutes late because we're playing a game that required a bit of troubleshooting at the last moment.
As always.
Well, not as always. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but this one definitely did. Particularly to save my eardrums.
Yeah, very important.
So wait, who do my eardrums belong to? Who am I even?
Who are you?
You tell me.
Yeah, you're Angus, Dr. Random Mole.
And you are, well, I mean, you're Ymir Politopoulos.
I am.
Soon to be doctor, right?
Soon to be doctor, yes. Only the formalities remain. Yes, we made it. It took 7 long years.
And a bit.
And a bit, but we got there. We got there in the end.
Not entirely just yet, but soon come. The road is now clear for an epic defense. I got
the results. There were no objections. There were only a few suggestions. Overall, very positive. So,
there was only one objection I heard, but that was from a lady that said, "No, I don't want him to marry with academia. I want him to marry with me."
Yeah, likely.
Man, I'm in a bit of a weird mood. Sorry, Aris. It's been it's been a day. I've been to lockdown IKEA.
Is there a lockdown IKEA?
There's a lockdown IKEA. It is, I would say, a lot more fun than regular IKEA.
Yeah.
So because
what is a lockdown IKEA?
So it's basically where you order stuff from IKEA, you drive to an IKEA, and you hang outside while they bring you your stuff. I say this is great. I mean, great. You have to pay €3 extra for the extra service, but
that's not a very steep cost to pay.
No, exactly. You know what I didn't have in the game that we're playing today?
Mm-hmm.
IKEAs.
No,
it doesn't happen in the game at all. One tiny bit. I guess maybe there's replaceable parts.
Maybe.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it could have been in there because IKEA is like founded in the
older than civilization.
Okay, so what are we playing today?
Civilization, of course.
We're playing Civilization.
We're not playing any Civilization. We're gonna be playing Civilization. Well, not even one. We're gonna be playing Sid Meier's Civilization. The original. At least if the gods of the computer and the ancestral DOS systems are willing to play around with us.
Yeah. Lack of IKEA is a massive historical flaw. It is.
Well, but I say it is actually in there. I mean, if I recall correctly, because so the thing is that what we will see is that basically my memory of Civilization is sort of one hazy. It sort of all blends together at some point. But I think in Civilization 1 there's a tech. What is it called? A discovery? What is it?
Discovery, right?
Yes, exactly. A discovery.
We remember everything.
We will remember everything in a bit. There's a discovery called replaceable parts. I think it's in there, right? And that's kind of IKEA.
I mean, I literally have the guide here.
Yes, exactly.
So I could look it up.
Yeah, we're not going to be wiki crutching today. No wiki crutching. We're gonna be guidebook crutching.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not massively relevant what we're gonna be doing because of course you want us to start doing just that. And
the thing that we are supposed to do.
Yeah. So maybe Aris, while I fiddle around with DOSBox, you tell a little bit about why we're actually doing what we're doing.
So this is season 3 of our One More Turn series, which is our civilization series. It is basically the streaming series that we're doing while we are studying the civilization franchise. We've done our first One More Turn where we played Civilization 6, playing as Persia, and we also did another season of this where we played Maori in the Civilization 6 expansion Gathering Storm for a total of 52 hours combined, which you can see on our YouTube if you have 2 hours to spare. Um, and then we just go really in depth into all the different aspects of the game, both in terms of gameplay and design and mechanics, but also in terms of history, archaeology, politics, concepts, ideas, and really anything we can think about. So
And also stuff we cannot think about, hence the wiki crutching.
hence the wiki crutching.
Yes.
So we did 2 seasons of the latest civilization and its latest expansion. So we thought it's time to go, if we want to study this series, it's time to go all the way back, go back to
All the way.
civilization, and play that and see where a lot of these things really started, a lot of the ideas that stayed with the game for all these like installations.
And we may even go to before this game. In fact, we already did a couple of streams ago when we played the Sumerian. Well, we played Hammurabi.
Yeah.
And this is all part of this larger research project of understanding civilization.
Yes.
Just
Which
the thing as well as the game.
yeah.
Mm.
And the thing in the game as well,
And the game in the thing.
and the
And,
game in the thing. So
and
there's a lot of gameception happening
there
in
is
there.
a lot of gameception happening.
But we
So,
have done a little bit of research in stuff like parts of the development of Civilization 1, some very old reviews, or guides about Civilization, people who had opportunities to play the game well in advance,
yes.
interviews by Sid Meier and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is this whole there's these gushing reviews in what is it called, Computer Monthly or Gamer Monthly. Actually
Yeah.
I should look it up right now, because we have those reviews, or maybe you have them somewhere and we can find them later, but it's not super important. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is what I didn't remember, but what I found in a very cool video that Ars Technica has recently done with Sid Meier on the very first Civilization. You would start Civilization by actually typing in the exe, so the command, well, not command, but by calling the exe civilize. So
Yes, right.
and I was like, wait, was it actually? And then one of my friends, who actually the person who sort of introduced me into Civilization in my very first years of middle school, of high school, and he said, yeah, it was always civilize. So you would install it however in whatever folder you would like, but then you would always call the exe would be civilize. And actually, in that particular computer, so Sid Meier shows sort of a testing version, one of the first running versions or demo versions that Civilization had, and he actually types in civilize, which I think is just amazing.
Super cool.
But because it's not in now, actually, that's why I bring up this Windows folder. If you, unfortunately, my original copy of Civ has been lost. The disk has been scratched.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I have to make do with downloads from the interwebs, and any download I think that I found so far, you just have Civ, not civilize, but you just call Civ. So one of the things is you could never call this game, you could never call the exe civilization, because civilization is too long a file name for DOS, for the DOS operating system, because you can only have a maximum of 8, and civilize, so civilize, just fits within those 8 characters. So that's why they went for civilize instead of Civ, because Civ, it's kind of that. So that's the first thing that is kind of a neat little callback that and without wanting to, before we even started the game, have sort of start the deconstruction already. But
Yeah.
it's different when you start a game and you say, now I'm gonna civilize, instead of saying I'm gonna start a game of Civ. Because one of the action of civilizing something, like in making something civil or making something into a civilization, and the other is just starting Civ. Anyway,
So
because
the magazine we were talking about, by the way, earlier, and we will bring this up later, I guess, is called Computer Gaming World.
Yes.
In particular, number 89 from December 1991, which has a preview of Civilization 1
By
by Alan Emrich.
exactly, by Alan Emrich, which is a character that we will probably talk a bit about, because he's also the author, together with somebody else, I think. Who else again?
Yes, together with Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson, of the very first strategy guide to civilization.
Yes.
And
exactly.
actually, I think he's also the author, if I remember correctly, of the second strategy guide. Not super sure anymore.
I think Johnny Wilson we can look that up.
We can look that up. Anyway, enough staring at the beautiful background of my Windows desktop. Let's start Civ. And while we do that, I have to fiddle around a little bit with the sound, because otherwise we're going to be blasting all of our eardrums.
I will put down in the chat in the meantime the actual link for the PDF of the magazine we were talking about. You can go to that link and download it if you would like. And if you go to page 86 of this issue, is where the preview starts.
So, do you remember Aris? Member Aris? Actually, let me make sure that I actually can see. Yes, that I can actually see you, Aris, or actually can see I don't want a DOSBox status window in there. Well, all right. Let me just make sure that this is on top. So there will be a bit of faffing about here. No, I don't want that. I in fact want.
So do I remember? I actually cannot really
remember playing Civilization 1.
I cannot remember because it was literally 2 years old when it was released.
I mean, you could still. Have you ever played the original Civilization 1?
I have played the original Civilization later.
All right.
By going through emulators and stuff like that.
Let me actually see if I can do this as a game capture instead, because over window capture.
I think this should be wise.
Yes, because if I do the desktop capture, I can already see that DOSBox is messing about.
Too much fun.
It's not having too much fun. I don't want the status window. Can I actually get the other? Can I actually get the other window? Oh dear.
So in the meantime, I'm checking all the different stuff here, and actually, there doesn't seem to be a replaceable parts.
That's a bit of a
discovery.
pity. I thought there was. Well, that's already how you can sort of see that. So how to do this in the best way?
I mean, it's a really old game, right? So
yeah. So let's see. How are we gonna? Because the thing is, if I Alt Enter, it doesn't become very big. And maybe if I Alt Tab, can I get Alt Tab out of it? So that's interesting. Because I need I needed to be
able to see this.
Yes, exactly.
Because you did it earlier, right? How did you do it earlier?
Well, not yet in the OBS. So
does it even matter?
I mean, it kind of matters, because otherwise in OBS you will see this thing very, very small.
Yeah.
So now you will, and the problem is I can't really change it in OBS because it has
admittedly, it is very pixely, but
it has locked my mouse. So this is all part of the
experience.
Part of the experience, yes, for sure. I need to actually. I know that there's a way to release the mouse in DOSBox. Release mouse. There we go. Press Control F10. Hopefully, I thought I was pressing just that. Release my mouse, DOSBox.
Release it.
Release it.
No.
It
We will
doesn't.
get to playing, people.
We
We promise. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just more of a matter of how to do this in the way that's actually going to be, visible to all of you.
Yes.
So,
And to me as well, because I'm sitting in my house and I have to be able to see Angus's screen. And if it's not maximized, then I won't be able to see pretty much anything as well.
no, exactly. So, this is nice. Now, you know what? I'm going to try and. So, how can I. So, the best solution for this would be for next time at least. I actually play this on my laptop.
Yeah, and then
with the Elgato out.
So the 2 PC setup that I was talking the other day
is seems like it will have to become reality.
Yeah.
So
in general, 2 PC setups for streams, if any of you is planning to do any streaming, if you can have a 2 PC setup, is generally advised.
Is generally advised, and
yeah,
we can sort of do it here, but we can also not do it because I only have so much room in my office.
Yeah.
So
it will require some fiddling the setup.
So the thing is, I can very nicely make it very nice and big for myself, but then it still isn't big for OBS, and I can't get it to OBS from here.
It's not big for OBS.
No, the thing is, and I cannot. I cannot.
If you start it, maybe or not.
Maybe. You know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. The thing is, the intro is suitably sort of impressive and monumental that I kind of want to have it blasting on full screen. That said,
let's hope it works out.
Let's see how it works out. So one of the things that I wanted to say, do you remember, Aris, that you actually have to select all these things when you play a game in DOS?
I had to play games in DOS. I can't say I remember much of this. I think a lot of things I just, I was doing them mechanically, like my parents had said, do this, this, and this, and I was like, okay, but.
Sure. So, all right, it doesn't give the sound just yet. Anyway, let me just. So no sounds, please. No sounds, please. Let's try with Roland MIDI board and mouse and keyboard. All right, let's see. I wonder if it will blast on. No, it's small.
Yeah, it is small. Yeah,
and it will blast our eardrums out as well in a little bit.
So make sure you lower your headphones. You have been advised.
Oh, it's not too bad. No, it's not too bad actually.
It's okay.
Oh, so it actually remembered the mixer setting for this. So now the question remains: how am I gonna get this bigger on OBS without me being able to go to? So I can't really explain how this works from your the way that you could see it.
No, that's the thing.
But
so it does not allow you to even resize it in OBS.
No, the thing is, my mouse is locked within DOSBox, and I can't really. So I can actually release my mouse. That's not an issue.
Okay.
But I can't really.
But if you alt tab out of it, then
no.
What does it show on OBS?
So alt tab out of it. This happens. So and then it just becomes basically the my display becomes super big again. So it just becomes full size. But because it's such a low res thing, it actually doesn't.
Oh, because it captures the
display size, which becomes very small and just
if you just make the display size really, really big?
Now, one thing I'm going to try now still is actually go for Windows capture. That actually is, maybe now it will actually allow me to. So no, the thing is, it doesn't allow me to. Windows Store app.exe. I wouldn't say that's probably the right one. So the only thing that it allows me to capture from DOSBox is its status window. This should be a lot of fun. All right. This sound, by the way, is like the Skype sound.
Yeah, it is kind of haunting.
It is kind of haunting in a. All right, so how am I gonna start up the frigging thing? So how would I do that? Boom. So maybe I can first start with. How can I make it big? Make it big. I love and I hate doing these kind of things in the computer. So wait, am I gonna go for the Droste effect now? Infinite Arises and Angers.
Exactly.
Not saying that this will help, but maybe. Whee!
You can see now behind the production what's going on.
You can see the high production levels of this. So and now DOSBox is actually places itself in the second screen again. Oh my god! How will we solve it? I actually streamed DOSBox once.
Yeah, because you played Dune, right?
And I didn't have this particular issue, so it's interesting.
But had you captured the display then, or had you captured the DOSBox?
I think I captured the DOSBox back then, but the thing is, I don't think I can game capture. So that maybe it will actually allow me to capture a specific window. Maybe. All right, maybe. Let's see. So wait. And now maybe if I make it bigger. Will it? No! No.
It did not. I don't know why. What's going on?
This is a lot of fun, isn't it? Oh, no, that's Windows RAR. No, that's not what I'm
pretty sure
for.
there are some people who are having a lot of fun by just watching.
I'm sure. This is also part of playing games and running around having fun with them.
I mean, I remember that as a kid, I very often just had to ask my mom to come and install games for me because, of course, it was in
nice.
English.
And
I didn't know how to do it. And my mom actually loved like fiddling with a computer.
Nice.
She just loved it. So she had became my main troubleshooter for anything games.
Anything.
Yeah, and it took me a while to actually start doing it myself because it was just so easy to say, "Mom, can you install this game?" I was like, "Yeah, okay," and then boom, she would do it. and then so maybe this is not the best thing to say on a public forum, but I'm gonna say it anyway. She would very often, like, because in her work they had relatively fast internet, she would often download cracked games for me, and then she would have to put the cracked games herself because, of course, I had no idea how cracked games work.
No, exactly.
So I played a lot of games because of that. So my mom used to blame partly for me becoming a gamer.
So there's this very tiny little thing up there. The SIF box, I think it is there. Now, scale resolution. Okay, scale resolution. Maybe that's going to be capture any field. No, capture specific foreground window with hotkey. All right.
Is it going to happen?
I mean, it's going to happen for sure. I just wanted to happen like bigly. No, it's not even capturing the freaking thing.
No, now it's all black.
Black as my soul. Oh, yes. Aris, this is the fun part of streaming. Let me. So there's two ways that we could. This is gonna go down in the.
in the history.
I kind of want to fix this, but I'm also kind of, you know what I'm first gonna
Kinda
do?
wanna play as well.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. So I'm gonna DOSBox there. I'm done with the little Skype sound because that just drives me insane. I don't know about you people, but um, we need to somehow fix this. It just needs to happen. All right. Let
If
me
we leave really hard, maybe it will go
maybe
away.
maybe yeah. I'm just
Oh
okay.
shit! I almost bumped my desk down. Shit. Hmm. You do stuff. I will talk about
You talk
the
about
guard.
you talk about funsy
So
stuff.
one of the so this guide that I have here, which is called Sid Meier's Civilization or Rome on 640k a day. Um, the authorized guide. So first of all, for those of you who are not as old as we are, back in the day, we did not have the interwebs to look up stuff about the games we played, but there were actually official guides. So that's how you would learn how to get to the next level of this game that you were stuck at. Other than calling your friend or your uncle to do it for you because you couldn't do it yourself. You could have actual guides that were sold separately from the game, and you would have to just read them and figure things out. Now, interestingly, very often these games were not necessarily official. Very often they were authorized, so the game developers had asked someone else to write them, but they were not always written by the people, by the developers themselves. And actually, game guides lasted for a very long time. Even I remember I had bought an actual book guide for World of Warcraft upon release. So I bought the game and then I went to the bookstore in my neighborhood and bought the book World of Warcraft, which was the guide. And then of course you look at the guide, which was released with the game release, and a week later it's completely irrelevant because the game has been patched and then all the numbers are wrong. But this did not happen back in 1991. So this guide, the Civilization or Roman 640k a day, was written by these two people that we talked about, Johnny Wilson and Alan Emmerich. Um, People who were in, especially Alan, were in contact with Sid Meier. They knew Sid Meier. Sid Meier already had developed a couple of games by that time. And they were asked to sort of develop, to sort of comment on the development process, to provide ideas, feedback, basically QA a little bit, that as QAs work today. And in fact, a lot of their ideas, and especially a lot of ideas by Alan Emmerich, um, ended up being inside the game. And so this guide that we have here is not actually a guide for civilization. It's not only a guide for civilization, but it's also a book about civilization in a weird way. So it's these people who, yeah, they wrote about everything, how to like how to build certain buildings, how to progress in your tech tree and so on. But they also just wrote a ton of fun facts. It just and this this book is just filled with fun facts about the game development, about ideas, but also they felt, and this is not something that necessarily was in the game. They felt they had to explain the things that were in the game. So they dived into the bibliography of the time or past, like in terms of history and archaeology and political theory, and they tried to explain on the basis of scientific knowledge the choices that were made in the game. So basically, they did back in 1991 exactly what we're doing now for civilization, but
Except
then as a book.
except they were doing it without DOSBox, which probably helped.
Yes, that one helped. And also accept, and that's something that we can talk about later, they had a very different point of view than we have today. And this will be, if you check out the link I posted in the chat, I can post it again for those who are tuning in now. If you check out that preview, it has all sorts of comments about things being included in the game and that are not necessarily historically or politically or scientifically accurate. For example, in that preview, there is a comment about climate change being an unproven theory, because apparently back in 1991, climate change was an unproven theory, and how the game is too politically correct, maybe sometimes, which goes completely against the idea that we have now, that very often actually civilization has too much of a conservative view in terms of history or politics. And so this interplay is actually extremely interesting. I have noted down, because I've been reading this in and out to see like the type of things that have because a lot of these things may not have been in Sid Meier's radar necessarily, but they are ideas that have definitely influenced him in one way or another. Because the way that Sid Meier developed Civ is by looking at books like encyclopedias and atlases and some other scientific or semi-scientific books. And all of these ideas just ended up in the game, because Sid Meier is not a historian and he did not consult a historian to write a game. So these are the stuff that you can find in this book. At the same time, in the sky, they have come up with all sorts of funny quotes, so to speak, because they think, you know what, this is not real history, this game, even though it talks about history. So what if we start every chapter and every section with a fake quote by saying something that actually nobody said, but then attributing it to somebody. So it has all sorts of this funny stuff, like this chapter that is why Sid wrote the game. And then he has a quote that says, because it wasn't there, by Sid Meier. So it has all sorts of this kind of stuff that are relatively funny. And you will find a lot of cringy things as well in there. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
we got it.
oh man,
Yes, we got it, Borg.
so
Well
the
done.
only thing
You just won another buff. Yeah.
Aris, is I think that because of the fact that I made some changes maybe to DOSBox, maybe you in fact the OBS now crashed of Discord now crashed, so we could all hear your voice, but I'm not
Oh
entirely
yeah,
sure. Entirely sure.
I can see me sitting in a very weird position, looking at the book.
I,
Victory, yes, we
Vic, oh,
made it.
this is just such a this is just so much computing for you in the sense that it's like, hey, you made one part of it and then another part of
And
it.
everything else breaks.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Aris, I think what we're gonna try and do is I'm just gonna try and see if I restart OBS, if actually then
Restart OBS. That is intense.
yeah, because I mean I
You're
can't.
gonna have to stop streaming for that.
Because yeah, exactly. So maybe because I can actually see you in Discord still. Oh wait. Now you're good to go again in.
I am. Yes,
Oh,
I am
okay.
there.
It's
I'm
fixed.
there.
It's
I can see.
fixed.
Okay.
And wait. Is
Is the
actually.
game fixed as well?
I wonder, man. Oh yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So everything is fine. 50
Oh.
minutes. Consider it that like now we're starting. We got there.
Hey
We got
man,
there in the end.
this is just part of the deal when it comes to wanting to stream old games. So one of the things I haven't
Yeah.
tried out at all actually is if we save this game,
Yeah.
if we actually
dynamically saves.
if we actually are gonna go back to it. But
Yeah.
I think we just have to start as if we are going to actually be playing this and, and keep on going
then
with
hope.
this game. And if
Yeah.
not, it's not that we're gonna go anywhere, right?
No, we have a plan to keep this as a series.
So maybe the first episode of the series will be more like a, I don't know, like a blooper reel.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thank you for that. You are actually having a lot of fun talking about.
Yeah, I had a lot of things to say. Yeah, Pascal, you just literally arrived at the right time, because we literally just managed to fix this thing.
Yes.
How did our viewership spike the moment that you actually managed to fix the game? I don't know.
It's
People were like, they actually fixed it. Go.
we've said for a long time that Dr. Pasco is actually Sid Meier. Secretly Sid Meier.
Secretly Sid Meier, yeah.
And I think he just felt that somebody was running his game the way it was supposed to be run.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right.
So there's a couple of big questions ahead of us.
Yeah. Starting a game.
Let me wait. Let me, with the risk of breaking more stuff, let me actually start up the sound again, because it is, we want some sound, right?
Right.
There's the Skype sound again. Wonderful. So wait. First thing, do we just want to try and do the intro one more time?
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine, because it's such an epic intro. Actually, you know what? Oh, wait.
Oh, there we go.
Start new game. It's just starting the new. Wait. This is what we call a shit show, because I didn't want to start the game just yet.
But we started the game. But we can enjoy the.
Yeah, but the thing, Lord. No, we're gonna do this differently, Ares. Sorry, Civ. Boom. There you're gonna go. Sorry, my friend. We're just because we need to read the text of this intro.
We need to read the text.
And we actually need to make the right choices as well for the setup of this game, such as who are we gonna play as, and who's gonna be in this game. Well, Anyway, that maybe matters. Okay, so sorry if false start, as we've had many already this evening.
Oh, we can call you JA. JA sounds dope.
JA. JA. All right, so let's try this.
I have a friend who's called AJ, so that's kind of fun.
So let's try this one more time. One more turn, one more time.
One more time.
Boom. Boom. All right, let's enjoy this. Designed by Sid Meier. I liked it. Like, comes out boom. With Brucelli. This is like, basically, with the two of them, they designed this entire game.
Yeah.
And these, of course, were people that were actually, helping with programming this game and getting all the stuff around here.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we should probably look up who these people are, what they ended up doing in games for the rest, or if they were simply part of Micropose at that time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There are a couple of comments about these two people, like Sid Meier specifically, and the design of the game as well in the guide. But I will just try to see if I can find really quickly. But I'm not sure if I will be able to. Oh yeah. So basically, it says here, as the game's development progressed, Sid would write code every night and bring in a new build of the game for Bruce almost every day. Bruce would play the game, write documentation notes, make suggestions, and confer with Sid. Then the process would start all over again. In fact, Sid continued to change the design even after Bruce had finished writing the documentation. Part of this continuing update was due to Sid's artistic temperament. He wants to build a perfect product, but part of it was due to the prodding of Alan Emrich as we played the game while researching this book. We love games and we just can't help making suggestions. So Alan actually also had a very big impact on the design of the game.
According to himself.
According to himself.
Yes. So to me, this book reads like so there actually what it really reads like is there are examples of letters or testimonies written by conquistadores that went together with the famous historical figures that we know, like Columbus or Cortes, on their voyages of, well, we can call them exploration, but conquest. And this is really what Alan Emmerich's book reads to me like as well. Like, I was there and I made a big impact.
Yeah, I was there. I helped.
I helped. I had ideas about where to take this franchise, and the thing is, you can sort of still get to the truth of this But at the same time, you really can't, because in the end, Alan Embridge will probably say, yeah, that's really what happened. And then you have to do a lot of fact finding with not just Sid Meier if you want to be completely balanced, but just with a lot of other people to say, hey, that Alan Embridge dude, what was he actually to all
Yeah,
of you?
what did he do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think a lot has been said about this, right? The fact that it is Sid Meier's civilization. So Sid Meier is, of course, now he's the most famous, well, one of the most famous game designers.
Yeah, he's considered the father of game
Oh,
development.
no, not game development, but of these types of
computer
games.
gaming.
But he's one of
Well, according to the Sid Meier's memoir book, it's the life and career of the godfather of computer gaming.
The godfather of computer gaming. I can sort of see that definitely.
Yeah.
But regardless, and he was already a noted designer in the late 80s and the early 90s. This is of course a game from 1991. People were enjoying his games like Railroads and Railroad Tycoons and games like that. Very much simulation games, all of them. But I think this is the first one, maybe Sid Meier's Pirates we actually had as well. Probably is earlier, if I recall correctly.
No, Sid Meier's Pirates
is later.
Later.
So Sid Meier's Civilization is the first game that bears his name.
I think it's the first game that bears his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has worked on multiple other games, of course.
Before this, yeah, for sure. But this is the first one actually that bears his name, and it's kind of amazing that Microprose let him get away with this.
Yeah, probably.
And at the same time, I think it's also very fortuitous for the game series itself, because although we like to refer to it as Civilization or Civ, it would not be the same type of game, quite literally without its designer, but also if it wasn't called Sid Meier's Civilization in full. Sid Meier, yeah, exactly. I think Sid Meier's Pirates was one of the first, and there's also Sid Meier's not flight simulator, but there's a couple of them. It isn't the first one, but sort of. This was now a practice, and there was a first moment that Microprose said, okay, you can sort of do this, Sid, if you want to call this Sid Meier. And it worked out because Sid Meier became, as we can read in those early game magazines, this game, what is it? Game Monthly?
Computer Gaming World.
Computer Gaming World. He was a noted designer already, so his name actually meant something on the box, I think, by the time that Civilization came out.
Oh, it definitely did. He already had worked in very famously at the time. He had worked with Tom Clancy, not necessarily with Tom Clancy, but at the Red Storm Rising game, which was based on a novel by Tom Clancy. And of course, a lot of games have since been done, like Tom Clancy's whatever. I don't know.
Basically, this counterterrorism simulator. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, and we probably should play a couple of. I mean, I want to play Tycoons as well, Railroad Tycoons as well.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be fun.
He had worked like on stuff like Flight Simulator, and all sorts of like fighting flight simulators. So F-19 Stealth Fighter. Yeah, Microprose was developing a lot of these kind of games at the time.
Yeah. But I mean, Sid Meier was the person developing these types of games. And I think that most people, if they even know of Microprose the studio at all, which actually went bankrupt, but actually was bought over by, I forgot, but maybe Wiki correct me on that one, was bought out by Shera or something like that. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But Microprose basically was bought over, and people don't tend to remember many other Microprose games, but there are actually a slew. Let me just quickly wiki search myself on the Microprose studio. So,
at the same time, Sid Meier had worked on a couple of not historical, but
it's actually not so strange, by the way, that they let him get away with it, because of course Microprose, I completely forgot, was actually founded by by Sid Meier, but it's Bill Steely. It was the co-founder which let him get away with that.
Garrett says,
So
keep forgetting Rainbow Six Siege is still a Tom Clancy game. Yeah, there are actually a lot of games that are Tom Clancy's games that you just don't realize. You're like, oh shit, what the fuck?
yeah,
But actually, so
Has-
Meier also had worked on a couple of other type of war games before, particularly in the NATO Commander, which was a strategy game by 1980. That was published in 1993 by Microprose for Atari and Commodore 64. And then there was another war game, Crusade in Europe, that was also for Commodore 64, and it was kind of a World War II 1944-1945 game.
all right. Maybe Aris, before we talk about more about this, we kind of want to take up the Skype call because I'm getting a bit crazy.
Yeah, let's.
So, Ares, the first question then is, aside from the many questions of how to run this game full screen, is what are we going to play? Are we going to play, well, not just a new game, because then we don't get to choose, right?
Yeah, I think we have to customize.
Are we gonna customize the world?
Play Earth.
Yes, exactly. That would be my question.
I mean, sure, we can play Earth.
I have to admit, I almost always played Earth. Because I just loved the fact that you were running around on this recreation of Earth, and that you also knew where everybody basically was gonna end up.
It is kind of interesting.
All right, Earth it is. I like that.
Yeah,
Earth.
So, and interestingly, in the guide, they have made a calculation of the size of the map.
Or the scale of the map.
Of the scale of the map, yeah. So they've reproduced a. Oh, sorry. Let's go through this again.
I just love the fact that this game is not just content to do civilization, but it's like this is all the stuff that happened before.
Yeah. Like, and also, why is it purple?
Because the seas are toxic, my friend.
Oh, sorry. I like the first steerings of life as well. Like tiny organisms, they're these huge green things.
The first faint glimmers of intelligence. Well,
smart.
Not just yet.
Not just yet.
The fire tools and weapons.
Hunt, farming, setting.
And the tribe.
Yeah.
I like the fact that a lot of stuff is already in here that we actually still have to build, like the pyramids and the wheel.
And the boats.
Harness the power of the land.
I like the uniting the quarreling tribes.
Yeah.
Because of course it was completely chaos before everything. Yeah.
Before everything else came, yeah. I like what a civilization is. Yeah. This is a civilization.
This is pretty great.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty damn
difficulty
cool.
level.
So humble brag, I've once as a 14-year-old finished this game on King, never on Emperor. That just was not.
I don't think it. I'm not even sure how possible it is. I mean, I'm sure people do it. I have no idea how.
I know. I have no idea how. Basically, as King, I just my whole strategy was to spam as many settlers as possible, as Russia, I think it was, and just in Earth, so I actually knew where to find everybody. Yeah. and just basically make sure that the whole Earth was already my city before before anything else. But so I want to say we actually want to play this game all the way through to completion.
Yeah.
So I want to say that Chieftain is going to be too easy. Warlord is going to Prince.
It's gonna be too easy.
Prince may be the thing. And actually, I think if I remember correctly, in your strategy guide, it will say exactly what will do.
Yeah, I think it will say exactly what it will do.
So yeah, it's kind of a pity. I still have to. So the UI of this game is not all over the place. It's very clean actually, but it just means that we can't see the portrait of the chieftain, which is this blonde chief with his cave behind him.
Yeah.
But you just have to do with Ares as a stand-in for this particular portrait. Which
Not very blunt, but
except for the rest, it's the same thing. And there's not really a cave behind you, but that's the way it is. So
yeah, so it gives you like the difficulty levels.
yeah, and it actually tells you what. So the way these difficulty levels work, and that I remember very well from there, is not. It's not necessarily that the computer gets any smarter. It's just that they get boosts in their production.
And you get like you get penalties. Like you're starting in Chieftain, you have starting funds, and in every other difficulty you don't.
Yeah.
Content citizens is different, and stuff like that. So yeah, there are also, for example, there's a different attack strength multiplier on barbarian units. Chieftain is 0.25 and Emperor is 1.25.
Yeah. So
it's number tuning, basically. Tuning.
It is number tuning, which is of course a really good way nowadays to just do difficulty levels.
Yeah, exactly. So but let's go for Prince.
Let's go for Prince. Let's see. Let's see. I always particularly like the images here. So one thing I think is that there's, at least for Emperor, this feels to me like Napoleon Bonaparte actually. So this very famous picture of painting of Napoleon Bonaparte being crowning himself emperor, and this feels to me like it's very much taken the regalia taken from that, but I wouldn't exactly know. But that's just me. But I don't know if the other one. So Prince, I always liked it as a picture, as a portrait. But not that you see this portrait at any other point in the game. But that's it. All right. So because Prince also had these long flapping hairs and this dashing smile. All right, Prince it is. Prince it is. So level of competition: 7 civilizations, 6 civilizations. Well, I'm just saying, let's go for 7 civilizations.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, okay, yeah, I guess the thing is that you have to actually defeat them all, but you have to defeat them all anyway, because they will. All civilizations will enter the game that are actually in the game. They just enter the game at a very early stage, so it's very easy to annihilate them later on.
So if you want, according to the guide,
yeah,
the suggestion is to select 4 civilizations.
4 civilizations. Okay, not how I normally.
That's the suggestion.
So
it doesn't really justify it.
Oh, okay. I like that.
It just says, in other words, how many opponents you wish to face across the game board. Select 4 civilizations.
All right, I'm gonna go for 5. I know Alan Embridge, you played this game a lot already when you were making this book, but we've played this game more since. So yeah. All right, 5 civilizations it's gonna be then. So the question is, which tribe are we gonna be?
Yeah. So Roman.
So I like the fact. So it used to be like pick your civilization, but now it actually pick your tribe. So you start out as this tribe. The tribes of the Romans, the Babylonians, the Germans. So actually, because we're playing in the world, this means that we will actually be in the real world location as well. So, so where?
Which is pretty great, yeah.
So, since we don't really know where the other ones are going to be at, which the other ones are going to be, I mean, it doesn't really matter super much what we end up choosing. It's just if you choose like German and Roman, there is always a chance that the French or the Germans are very, very close by, and it's a very
Yeah.
crowded early game.
Yeah.
So, who do you want to play as?
I would be inclined to say Babylonian, but
Ah,
let's no, let's not play Babylonians.
I mean, we can.
Uh, I
You,
don't know. I don't know,
you
man.
know, you know, who I'm kind of inclined to play as the Chinese.
Chinese?
Chinese.
Let's play as Chinese. I have very little knowledge of Chinese
Yeah,
history,
but
though.
so the thing is also
It doesn't matter.
in civilization it doesn't matter because really it doesn't give you there's not really any bonuses to playing a specific civilization in
No,
Civilization
it's
1,
true.
and there's not even any flavor text if I remember correctly. So it in a way it's more interesting to encounter, well, not that the Chinese civilization is not very interesting, but I also know very little of them, so it's more interesting to pick to encounter the other ones.
Okay.
Okay, and plus it's kind of in a good starting spot if I remember correctly.
It should be.
Chinese. All right.
Chinese.
So
It
okay,
is.
but no.
It is very interesting that it has as a suggestion Mao Zedong.
Well, no. I mean, this is the leader of the Chinese in Civilization 1,
Yeah, I know.
and it is the leader as well in other civilization. But I mean, as a suggestion, it's simply the name of the leader that's normally in there. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be called.
You're not gonna be Mao?
No, man. I have some. As you know, I don't have qualms in principle with communist leaders, but with Mao,
With Mao,
I
you have some.
I have some serious qualms on the humanitarian front. I mean, there's no revolution without bloodshed, but I think Mao took it a couple of steps too far. So, all right. So I'm just gonna go for my name. Random. Because this was already when I was playing these games, I was already
Right.
calling myself self-random now and again. And also, one of the things was because your name would appear everywhere, so you get these like
So you get-
random leader of. I always like that. Anyway, random.
Random, you have risen to become leader of the Chinese. May your reign be long and prosperous. The Chinese have knowledge of irrigation, mining, alphabet, map making, pottery, and roads.
So this I forgot actually is that what starting civilization you choose is actually impacting the starting discoveries that you have.
Yeah.
Okay, this I forgot, which is a good way to provide some flavor to our civilization and some early dynamics. I'm getting absolutely crazy with this. So let me just quickly go on.
So for this, according to the guide as well, every civilization gets the basics, which is road building, irrigation, and mining. And on some occasions, you will be given more advances, so pottery, wheel, or the alphabet. And in some other cases, you may even be able to start with 2 settler units instead of 1.
Yeah, it depends also on the difficulty level, of course. All right. Well, definitely only one unit. I'm just gonna fiddle with the game sound a little bit because if we have more music, it's gonna drive me absolutely crazy. The thing I'm gonna do first is actually I'm gonna game, and is it not allowing me to save? Oh dear. Autosave? Oh, maybe. Or maybe it doesn't allow me to save yet because I have to answer this question, which I will, because that's the first thing that sort of happens. Is sort of DRM avant la lettre. Maybe it won't allow us to save anyway, and then we have to get back.
We'll see. We'll try to save after the stream.
Yes. Anyway, let me quickly fiddle around with the sound. Put it even a little bit lower. All right.
By the way, you've placed me over the minimap, so I don't think that's the best location.
There in Civilization there are no good locations, but the minimap is probably this is better. Let me actually try and whoops.
You can make me a bit smaller as well.
Do you even need to be smaller?
Not necessarily.
Sorry, Alice. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be making fun of your height.
It's fine. Everybody makes fun of my height, even in my own house.
All right.
Oh, Casey is ignoring me, so.
As she should. All right. I honestly don't remember where to plunk down, but
Hmm.
one of my rules in Civilization, especially Civilization 1, is to just build.
Yeah, just plunk down where you are.
Yeah.
Even according to the guide, it says that the computer places each player's initial settler unit in a likely spot to found a city.
Yeah.
So
But not only that, it just is smart because every turn that you're not producing anything.
yeah,
So baking, let's go.
I think no, don't call it pecking. I mean, sure.
We are the Chinese in the end.
Yeah. Pecking
So
is.
I mean, one of the
You
things, of
could
course.
call it Beijing if you want, but
So this is interesting, right? So I want to say let's keep it to baking because we want to go
yeah,
with
let's
you.
keep it as is. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is one of so the newer names for cities are it's like
Mm,
such as Civilizations 6, where they use the indigenous names or the autochthonous
mm,
names for all the cities and all the
yeah.
wonders and things like that. Definitely wasn't the case here. So this is just the simple Anglo-Saxon or European baking.
Yeah.
You gotta love this. I
You.
think
Yeah.
that these splash screens were really one of the best, absolute best things about. I'm gonna remove the one more turn because there's just too much going on in the UI anyway.
Yeah,
But
it
these,
is a cluttered UI.
yeah, well, I mean, not cluttered at all. Actually, if you think about all the things that this game needs to portray,
True.
we could talk about that later. But there's
Mhm.
just a lot of it's just in a lot of different places because the screens are just in a lot of different places. So, and I always loved the fact that you could just have a little look at at your city, and this is it as baking in 4000 BC. So man, let me. If anything is unclear to all of you watching, uh, just let me know because I'm kind of probably gonna go on this with muscle memory.
Yeah.
So if well, we actually have a shield resource, so that's kind of nice. So it will tell us how long this actually is gonna take. So one of the things I actually almost always do is I always just kind of build more settlers in the beginning.
Yeah, just build another.
It's kind of risky
Just make sure.
because
Yeah, if we get attacked, then we're kind of screwed.
so maybe we want to just stick with a militia for now, play it kind of safe. But normally I would just
Hmm.
build a settler, and sometimes even save scum if things went really badly and I was in a foul mood. But you know what? Let's just stick with militia for now because why not? So okay, so I mean one of the things you can see straight up, right, is that there's so many things that have stayed the same when it comes to civilization.
Hmm.
Even like the location of your city surroundings is has stayed here for a very long time. It's the central place, which is still is the case now in Civilization 6, right?
Yeah.
Super centrally located. The unit or production screen here on the right. This is not there anymore so much. I think it is right in Civilization 6. I actually kind of forgot now.
I. Yeah.
But this has changed for sure. So this is actually still up there as well
Yeah.
in the modern civilizations.
Hmm.
This has changed for sure, especially what you get to do with these people. But
Yeah.
that's later on. And the food storage is also something that was sort of moved up. I kind of forgot what this thing is about, but whatever.
The food storage box.
Yeah, the food storage actually. Now I know what this is about. So
Oh.
basically, it has to fill up, and if this is full up, we get a new citizen. And what happens when you get a granary is actually you just sort of cap at a minimum amount of food storage. So this is also I always kind of like. So info, happy. We have people that are just their regular selves. They're just workers
They're just workers. Yeah.
with
There are
with little hard hats on, I guess.
yeah. They
And
have
then
their green helmets, which is safety first. not green, yellow helmets because safety first.
And here you get to see our actual worker uh, in the city of Peking. There he is. He's actually a smith, which I always thought was a bit interesting and weird at the same time, because I was like,
Yeah,
because there were always like so many smiths in in this city.
so many smiths.
At the same time, I think it's hard to very American imagery of settlers. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. That's of the settlers as well. Yeah, the settler unit. Oh, for sure. That is such an American form of imagery of what a settler is supposed to be. We can talk a little.
Yeah.
But I kind of lost my train of thought here. But oh yeah, this stuff looked really great for 1991 as well.
This must have looked like insane at that point.
I mean, you could actually we're actually playing it on the nicest color settings now, so it could also look much worse. But it just, not even necessarily in terms of like how impressive the graphics were, but just also the pixel art here. This is we're really here are in the golden age of pixel art, where with just a little bit of pixels, there's these whole vistas, cities, and even like characters. Because the Smith character, if you look at him, he's a real character, right? He's not just some sort of generic dude. No, he's like a character. Anyway, just me gushing about. I love one of the things. If you could give me a skill, just like out of the blue, like boom, you have it. I want to know how to do pixel art, because I think it's just one of the most interesting and fun things. And I just know it's a lot of work to get into it, and I don't have the time.
It is quite a bit of work.
And when I sort of went for it a little bit, it's just it's clear that I don't have any natural talent for it. Anyway, that's enough. So yeah, for sure. I mean, if you we can just see the settler still for this last time right now, because it's afterwards it will disappear, I think, if I'm correct. And yeah, it's a wagon train basically. A very
it's a very it looks like a face.
It does look like a face. Yes, it does look like. These are of course the wheels, and then
the white
the canvas, exactly. So this is just like Oregon Trail style wagon trains. Yeah, very American imagery for sure.
Yeah.
So end of turn. So I kind of hope. Okay, now I can actually save the game. Let me just quickly do that. All right. Let's see if this thing doesn't crash. All right, save in progress. Okay, cool.
All right, we got this.
All right.
It's not very easy, but we got this.
All right, and a turn, so we just have to wait a lot of turns. So one of the things that I always thought was, when I was playing this game, it got me a bit stressed for the first time. It's like, why is time progressing so fast, right?
Yeah.
Like in these 20-year increments.
Yeah, and that's of course not the same for the entire game. So as you progress through time, the years per turn change.
Yeah. And I when I sort of realized this, when I actually sort of went on playing it towards the more end game, I thought it was, even then I remember it being such a brilliant mechanic, because I'm like 12, 13, 14, I think 15 is probably when I already started playing Civilization 2 a lot, or even before that maybe, but I didn't have many sort of very advanced ideas about the progression of time and the perspective on time. But it is such a, we feel that time in the past went faster, right?
Yeah.
Less happened in the past.
Like that, and of course, because we tend to like study the past in bigger time intervals, we see these ages like the Neolithic, the Bronze Age, and so it's this historical tendency that we have, and of course our own times, because we also want to study our own times, we tend to think of them as what happened the last 10 years, and of course this is a much shorter time interval there.
All right, let me actually see. I want to give some orders, but somehow it's a bit awkward still.
You can do the.
Oh wait, I actually want to. Yeah, no. Of course, I can't give any orders to the cities, but what I want to do is actually, yes, tax rate. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. So this is what I always did in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Because who cares about money when you actually need science?
Science.
Science. And let me make sure that if I remember correctly, the luxury rate is always at 0. Yes, for sure. So 90%, 90% science. This is
Let's
the
go.
this is the type of society that I wanna live in, where 90% of your income of your
90% of
production goes
science.
to science. One of the other things is just so I mean, there's so many things to unpack here, but the fact that it's called science, right?
Mm-hmm.
Science advisor. Another, by the way, another frigging character, the science advisor. Just, and we were actually talking that we will probably prepare a little chapter for an upcoming volume by Dr. Draycott from Glasgow
Mm-hmm.
on who's writing on women in video games, but we want to write on bodies and in video in civilization in particular.
Or at least that's what we would like to suggest
We
to
will,
write.
yeah, for sure. We still have to be accepted, but I mean, I think it's just a fascinating little thing. That's the context of it, and it's
Mm.
interesting to see like this character again already, like a science advisor. He's a science advisor because he's, you know, this sort of wizened old man
Yeah.
with this little beard and stuff like that. Okay, so help available. I always love that. I honestly still don't really know how to get to that. Maybe it's F1.
I'm not sure.
Let's see. Let's wiki-crash myself here because Civ 1
It doesn't really
help.
tell you in the guide actually.
Now I think maybe it actually means that um oh, actually that's what it's called. They're not called discoveries, they're called advances, of course, in Civilization 1.
Advances, yeah.
Yes, that's it. Help available, maybe actually it means maybe I can click. So the problem is I'm kind of scared to click on anything because I know that it's I kind of end up just choosing the wheel instead of masonry, for example.
Likely.
But with the with the danger that I actually end up going for the wheel, which is not the best early discovery to go for. Let's I'm
Okay.
gonna try and click on help available. No, I probably just went for the wheel now. Let's actually have a little look. Man, there's just a
Advisors.
so
Scientific advisor.
scientific advisor. That's F6. Well, so right now, code of laws apparently, which
Are
is
you researching code of laws?
fine. Yeah, I guess it's just the one that I went for. So, code of laws. In not too many turns actually.
So
So that
apparently there should be like for the, it says in the guide for the time being, however, do whatever your scientific advisor says. Presumably he'll recommend either researching pottery or the alphabet.
yeah,
Uh,
alphabet we already had and pottery we
yeah,
already
and
had as
says
well.
beyond that, be sure to get map making, um, and then ceremonial building, the ceremonial burial and code of laws.
Yeah, I mean basically get everything.
Get everything.
So let's have a little look at code of laws in the Civilopedia. You know what? First of all, I'm gonna get rid of the one more turn little thingy over there because who needs it? Stream title. Boom. All right. So let's have a little look. Boom. Oops.
Oh, we're tiny. There we go.
So now this is actually a complete one, but it doesn't really matter. So oops. All right. Let's go for civilization advances. So we just went for code of laws. So just as we would always kind of do as well, or frequently do as well with our other streams, we'd actually just look stuff up in the Civilopedia. So, and this is of course, this is already how old the idea of an in-game information source is. And I honestly don't know actually if the Civilopedia is the oldest a variant of this? I don't think it is because I think probably actually not. Let's see, because I know of another game that has.
I'm pretty sure there should be other versions of this, especially considering even Sid Meier has worked on like strategy games with historical backgrounds. I'm pretty sure they would
Yeah,
provide.
they were providing these things in game, but still,
Yeah.
it's such a mainstay of the series, and I think such a charming aspect of the series as
Hmm.
well. That so let's have a little look at Code of Laws. Code of Laws, a civilization advance. As populations and cities grew, the need grew for the establishment of rules of conducts within the newly organized societies. After the development of the alphabet, these rules were written down along with the punishments that kept them enforced. The earliest known such codes existed in Babylon, India, and Palestine. Roman law was the first to distinguish between public law, in which the state is involved, and private law, concerning disputes between citizens. US law was greatly influenced by the work of Sir William Blackstone, who stresses the natural rights of the individual.
Hmm.
So interesting, right? That there's
Yep.
it's a super short text. It's in fact much shorter than by necessity, of course,
By
uh,
necessity. Yeah.
than a lot of the civilization as the Civilopedia entries later on. But it still takes you through a lot of history on laws, all the
Hmm.
way, and factually correct history on laws. At least, yeah, at least as far as I know, for the code of laws.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure where Palestine comes from, but of course Babylon.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure.
But
It has an
go ahead.
interesting observation in the guide. So one of the interesting things with this guide that I have here and will be following as well is that on one hand it does not have the Civilopedia entries, but it does have a much more extended like discussion of its advancement
Weird,
in
isn't
one
it?
page.
Weird, isn't it? The fact that they could have
Yeah,
just gotten away with just plunking down the
yeah,
Civilopedia here.
but no, and also they just tell their opinion, and then on the other side, it has this tech tree basically that tells you what you should research and why, like what does Code of Laws unlocks. So they have a very interesting observation and explanation here that to do to research the Code of Laws, you need an alphabet. So if you don't have an alphabet, you can't. But you don't need to have literacy to because literacy comes after the Code of Laws. And it says here, notice that even though development of an alphabet is a prerequisite for establishing a code of laws in Sid Meier's civilization, literacy is not necessarily a requirement in the early stages of legal development. This is because there can be significant development based on an oral tradition before that tradition has to be preserved in writing. Fortunately, archaeology has uncovered tablets which reflect many ancient laws. In the ancient Middle East, for example, the Code of Hammurabi and the Nuzi tablets are but two discoveries that add to our knowledge of early civilizations,
Yeah.
which is another like interesting take on this, right? It- these things are not mentioned in the Civilopedia. These people were in contact with Sid Meier. Maybe they were like nerding out over all of these things, and basically this is what it is. Like,
Not maybe. They were just like we are nerding out over these things, I think.
yeah.
And
But it's interesting that they mention like the Nucci tablets, which I would never expect anybody to refer in this hyper pop gaming guide. It doesn't make any sense. But the observation is interesting that you don't need to have literacy.
so wait, what are the Nucci tablets, my friend? Because if you want to know about the Code of Law by Hammurabi, you know, then
So,
then you just watch, a couple of streams back when we played Hammurabi, where you talk about the Code of Law. But what is the Nucci tablets?
so that's a weird thing. I'm not exactly sure why they mention the Nucci because there's no such thing as the Nucci tablets. They are, by the way, it's spelled Nuzi, Nuzi or Nuzi. Um, but they are so Nuzi is a site in ancient Mesopotamia. Um, it was an ancient city, And there are plenty of texts coming from there, and some, like, a lot, like 5,000 tablets or something like that. So a lot, and a lot of them are coming from the period of the Akkadian Empire, and some of them do deal with law. Some of them do deal with like issues of marriage and stuff like that.
If there's 5,000 pieces of frigging clay with
Yeah,
text on it, I'm sure there's a couple that are like, hey, and this is what we think should happen when
yeah.
somebody does something that shouldn't happen. Yeah.
But it's not this, sort of
Yeah.
Code of Hammurabi like known type of thing that you would immediately reference.
So, and one of the things that this lead will. So, sorry, by the way, if you're in the stream and you're like, or later here on YouTube, you're like, why are they not playing Civilization? Why the hell are they talking about these things? Well, that is what we do in these streams.
This is the One More Turn series. We just
Exactly.
dissect every piece of
If you
civilization.
if you want a bit more action packed stuff, you may want to try the Thursday streams that we go for, because we tend to play a bit more game and do a little bit of less talky talk. But hey, that's you're watching a couple of academics just nerding out together. That's basically what you're doing. So, but what you're referring to, I think, is very interesting. So, of course, this is.
But I have an explanation as
All
well
right,
as to
go
why
go
we
go
chose
ahead.
this.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go.
Because earlier in the text, in the book, they talk about a book from the 30s, which is called Our Oriental Heritage by Will Durant, which is sort of a pop history of the Near East and India, that was kind of famous in the 30s, actually published in 1935. And they cite this book also for the Code of Laws. And I guess that in that book, they must have read about the Nuzi tablets, and that's why they put it in their guide, because there is no other reason to put it in there. Like,
No,
if you're not an archaeologist, there is no reason to know this.
no.
So I think and even in 1991, you would expect that there is more recent literature to talk about like the history of law than a book from 1935.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to understand that these people were not probably not going to research libraries to write these texts. They were probably, if they were already going anywhere and not just reaching into their own bookshelves, they were just going
But
to the local library, probably.
indeed, but it still is relatively obscure to have a book from 1935, even in like 1991,
Yeah,
right?
it is, and actually that's the larger point here, because actually here you're talking about the guide and not about the actual in-game.
Yeah,
Does it actually still show up, this in-game thing? That would be nice, wouldn't it?
yeah,
Oh Lord, oh I love how this game just, there we go. So we're not talking about the in-game text here, of course. Let me just get back to the text.
yeah. Let's.
But of course, Sid Meier and Bruce Shelley also got their information from somewhere, and Sid Meier has actually been very forthcoming in saying that, no, I just took my inspiration from world historical atlases and things
Yeah.
like that, and also from the pages of U.S. Heritage magazine, which was this magazine that I think ran. I don't think it runs anymore. No, it actually doesn't run anymore. This magazine was quite popular in the 80s and 90s. So that's probably also why there's actually reference to somebody, Sir William Blackstone, who is important for U.S. law, because of course there's a U.S. game designer writing for what is in the 1991 predominantly a U.S. gaming market.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it's important to reference why U.S. law is and what the U.S. law is very interested in. But this book, which actually is shown by Sid Meier in this Ars Technica video that I was just referring to earlier, and we will link it probably in our YouTube comments later on, is actually very probably the book that he actually showed it in the video. Like, oh, I went through this book and just basically took out stuff that was important back then and just put it in there. Yeah. And so we bought a copy of this book to in fact check the contents of it. So let me try and find it.
As you can see, we take this job extremely seriously.
Yeah,
Like we actually like bought the books from them to just make sure that these are like this is research. This is not.
this is definitely research. So there you go. Um, so here it actually. Let me actually bring up the faces again, so you can see it a little bit better. Let's bring this up. So here you actually have in this book. Wait, in this book you actually have this timeline
Yeah.
basically. Oh wait, this timeline over here. So in that, it's basically a timeline of world history as written by this person called Colin McAfee, which was interestingly was a doctor, not of history, but like a medical doctor, who was also
Yeah.
who also weirdly was really into writing these sorts of guides. So that's another story by itself that we may get into.
Mhm.
And let me see over here. Actually, it says Hammurabi publishes the what is it? Publishes eye for an eye law code.
Yeah.
And if you will look at this page is actually says 1800, 1700, so it's a little bit later than where we're now right now. But you will see all sorts of other advances that are actually part of the list of advances that you can make in civilization as well. For example, we have over here around the same time, we have uh, knowledge of bronze working reaches Europe.
Mhm.
So quite, and then if you will look in the in the Civilopedia, so in the Civilization Civilopedia, you have bronze working right here as well. So we will invest in bronze working a little bit later. So he had this basically this map of
Yeah.
what advances were going. He had this all laid out in his book, and so it's kind of interesting to. And aside from that, probably you could even see this is that there's a lot of the wonders that you get to build in this game are also there. So so this is of course Stonehenge, a whole piece about Stonehenge in there. Um,
Yeah.
and then later on, I've actually found that Sid Meier probably knew a lot about recent history as well because he was sort of living through it, and he doesn't really use this book so much anymore and the terms in it. But there's literally like here we have Hammurabi publishes an eye for an eye law code, but he didn't take much other information from this. So the text that is written here is not like he copy pasted it from this particular Macmillan World History Fact Finder. He actually just wrote it himself, or a couple of other people wrote it themselves. So there was a other research that was going to go into making these
Yeah.
encyclopedias. So still, the structure of advances and the structure of how you progress is based in civilization, is based to this day, has its base in the Macmillan World History Fact Finder. This book
Yeah.
from, I think it is 1987, if I remember correctly, written by this English medical doctor with a penchant for writing world historical atlases. He wrote a lot more of them. 1984 even. This book is as old as I am. And it's not a bad book at all. It's kind of interesting. But so if you go for something like bronze working in Civilization 6, or you're going to go for Code of Laws in Civilization 6, it's in there because it is in fact in that Macmillan World History Fact Finder book, which I think is, and that's just something that Sid Meier read and said, if it's in that book, why not put it in our game?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that said, let's play a little bit of this game, a little bit more.
I mean, we cannot really do too much until we get the. There we go.
The dude, you mean?
Yeah, we have a militia now.
All right. Yes, for sure. So we have a militia now. So let me actually change this because we don't want to keep on building this. So
Let's build a settler. Do it.
yeah, I think a settler is a good thing to do. It's a long time though, and
I mean, we're not producing as much food. We're only producing 3.
yeah, exactly. We're not producing as much food at all. So
Maybe we should put some people working, like one of the citizens to work more on the land.
I mean, it is working on the land. Is the question. So the question is more: is there any other land that's going to be better for this? And in fact, so mining. I think there's not a mine yet. So I don't think. So I don't think there's anything particularly good yet to work.
Yeah,
So
maybe not.
so it's a settler. So this is probably not the best starting location, but that's the way it is. So
Mhm.
so maybe a settler would be good, or
Yeah,
otherwise,
just to get the.
I think we're going to go for settler. So one of the things that I don't remember entirely is if during the production of the settler, actually you don't end up growing your city. And one thing that I do remember for sure is that that settler actually takes one population from your city.
Oh,
So
that's weird.
no, it's not weird because you're just moving one
Yeah,
segment of your population. I think it's very
yeah.
logical. So that will actually happen. So our city will stay a bit small. But that's the way it is, I guess. So let's go for settler anyway. So well, kind of scary always setting out into the great beyond. So these, if I remember correctly, I don't think we actually have. Well, maybe we can actually. Yes, these are a lot better tiles in Civilization.
Yeah.
So these ones over here. So that's good that
So
we
maybe we
found.
could have moved that one
Yeah,
space or two, but
yeah.
that's fine.
If we actually
By and
remember,
large, like if you start playing Civilization 1, just blank the. I don't know why anybody would start playing Civilization 1 besides us, but then just blank down the city where you are.
well, I mean, there's actually a lot of people still playing Civilization One because it is still an interesting game. So one thing that I don't really remember, if you actually could page down, like, oh yes, you can actually.
Actually, we're the only stream for Sid Meier Civilization now.
Yes, of course, the only stream that I can see, that I can see. So one thing that I never realized until just basically until Sid Meier came out and said it himself, I think,
Mhm.
is that Chinese wise men discovered the secret of code of laws. Can you recognize anybody in this particular?
I most definitely can recognize somebody here.
Right. This the guy, the actual wise man, which by the way is interesting. So we can after we do this little Easter egg, let's talk about what actually is wise man.
Yeah.
Um, this guy is actually Sid Meier himself.
Yeah. So
This
what
is
you see over there, this is a pixel art of himself.
of himself. This is I don't know if it's a self-portrait, whether he made all the pixel art in the game. Actually, I'm not entirely sure because he was very much a designer, a programmer.
Yeah.
So we should probably have a little look at who made all the pixel art. But this is just him as a
Yeah.
as a wise man, and he will stay the same throughout the ages, even if the imagery around him will change.
Hmm.
So, all right, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah. So this is very interesting. It's very interesting, first of all, because your scientific advisor earlier was this like more Chinese looking kind of old dude with the white goatee, kind of the Asian stereotype.
Interesting that you call him Chinese looking, because he's not, of course, Asian because we're playing Chinese.
No, no, no,
He's just
exactly.
Asian because he's a tribal.
Yeah,
He's tribal, and he's actually we're now as a government we're a despotism, and that's why
yeah,
he looks like that. So it's
yeah.
just a tribal advisor basically.
So
But yeah,
it's kind of this. Yeah, it plays a little bit on a little bit. It plays on the stereotype of this more like not egalitarian but older type of scientific advisor. Like anyway, in the screen that we're looking now, this is basically the classicist ideal of the early scientific development. This is a very clearly like Hellenistic Roman inspired background with the columns and like this white marble everywhere and a table with all sorts of papyrus and weird tools in it.
yeah. I guess
Um,
it's the Pythagoras triangle or something like that. I don't know.
no, this is not no.
I
This has nothing to do
but
with fire.
no, I know, but I
fire.
mean, I mean, but why is it there otherwise?
I it's sort of. why is the sphere there? It's this type of geometric devices that imply like science.
I like that. Geometry implies science. That should be
Yeah, yeah.
that should be on a shirt. All right. No, but I yes, you're right. Of course, you're right.
And
And
then it's interesting that we see, well, first of all, it's hilarious that we see these freestanding columns,
right.
because why would you build a column if you're not going to put a roof on top?
If you're not if they're not there to support anything,
Yeah,
yes.
this is not how things worked. And I really like this screen that there is there, this Hellenistic background, but then you have a screen that will be changing over the game, and Sid Meier will be saying, "Hey, look at what we researched now."
Yes, it's like a screen. Like, hey, look,
Yeah,
we have this statue of
yeah,
Lady Justice. Um,
yeah. Because of course, Code of Laws, it could have had the Code of Hammurabi there because it referenced it, but no.
you mean the actual stela of Hammurabi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It.
but no.
So the thing is, of course, that what Civilization One went with is what was known to players at the time. So
Yeah,
even if
of
they
course.
maybe have heard of Hammurabi because maybe they've played the game, it's very unlikely that they've actually seen a depiction
Mhm.
of that particular stele. Especially in America, they would never have been able to see it in a museum, right? Because it's in a museum in where? What
In
museum?
France, it's in
France. It is in the
yeah, it's in
Louvre.
the Louvre.
It's in the Louvre, right? Yeah, I thought for a weird moment Germany, but Louvre.
No, no,
So
it's in the
probably, I mean, many of the people here would have not visited the Louvre, and if they would have probably not visited the Stele of Hammurabi, but they
and they
would have
didn't really have the internet at that point, so
exactly. I mean, this is coming out in the as the internet is just kicking off. Really, it is
mhm.
around that time really that this is happening. So there's message groups, message boards already there, but it's not where you can just say, "Hey Google, tell me about, give me an image of Hammurabi Stele,
Yeah,
wiki crutch me here." So of course they're going to go with something that they recognize, and this is of course Lady Justice,
yeah,
as the upholder of the code of laws.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, and it's very, especially for the time of period, but it's kind of this both English and American iconography. It's very much
yeah.
clear what it
So
means.
so I always want to refer to the type of style that is here is sort of like Anglo-Saxon libertarian realism, or not libertarian maybe, but not social realism, but
No,
like liberal realism, as in so in terms of the pixel art and all those sort of the very monumental kind of things happening, or
I, I
maybe
I would
just
say
liberal
conservative realism.
conservative, maybe conservative, but
I think it's more because, yeah, we will be analyzing this much more, like the views in the game and stuff like that. But we've already done it, of course, for 2 seasons for Civilization 6, and I think a lot of things have not changed, and one of them is this, for modern day standards, much more conservative idea that we present.
maybe, and not to slack too much on our classicist colleagues, but this is really about classics, about the classics of our civilization, and almost like you have the rock classics. This
Yeah,
is that is really what it is about. So the Code of Law classic is, of course, um, uh, Lady Justice. That's
yeah,
the classic image of and of course the classic image often intersects with classical images in a game like Civilization. So
yeah,
maybe it's just classical realism, because at the same time it's very much within its pixel arty kind of style, trying to really show you the thing, right? It's not some sort of logo or image or iconography. It really is an image of Lady Justice, just very pixelated.
yeah.
So anyway, probably over analyzing this, but it's good. It's good to do that. And actually, here
When
we,
do we ever not overanalyze
so
things?
it actually, as you said, it requires the alphabet. Now we can go for monarchy if we have ceremonial burial. By the way, ceremonial burial is also one of these things that is in the Macmillan World History Fact Finder. Trade, literacy, and we can actually build a courthouse. I don't think I
Yeah.
actually built many courthouses ever, but whatever.
By and large, in this, it's advisable to go for monarchy at some point because it
Yeah,
quickly gets you into a new government system.
which is going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the things that I would often do quite quickly, depending on what sort of aim I would be going for.
Mm.
So if I knew I would be maybe getting into hot water with barbarians or with other players, I would first go for bronze working. But otherwise, I would go for um, um, ceremonial burial.
Yeah.
So I still don't know how to actually. I don't know if I've ever done this. The help available.
I have no clue. If you just click down,
No,
click,
if I
click, click, it doesn't take you to the help
no
available.
no no. I actually think this means have a little look at the uh, manual that was part of this, and
Maybe,
uh, and just
maybe.
so one of the things that I'm kind of interested in, if we actually will hit this magical moment where we're gonna be asked a question about the manual that should come with our game, which was this early form of DRM, or if they've actually just for these abandonware releases, if they've just um, put them coded them out of the game, but
Yeah,
let's quite literally cracked them out of the game.
we'll see.
Um, shall we go for ceremonial burial and just go for a quick monarchy?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do
All
that.
right.
Let's try to be as efficient as possible with this stuff.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's just. There's some horses down there. That's good. So
That is good. Yeah.
so now baking actually is growing nicely. Very nice. This is pretty good. So
Yeah.
let me just get back to
So now we
baking.
have a man and a woman.
Yes, for sure we do that. A city must have. Oh, I have to support now. Okay, in here. Let's go to the view. So one of the things that I just really, there's a lot of work that has gone on in this game.
Why is he holding a bag?
Wait, um, that is actually a very good. I don't know. I I I never realized this until first of all, she's kind of a large woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but she's kind of a large woman, and she's very blonde, and she's
It's in sharp contrast with like the big muscular guy with like these more brown tones on his skin color. This black beard and black long hair, like holding the hammer, holding the red hot like iron
well,
bar.
quite literally almost this image of Hephaestus himself, almost, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the
man the
portrayal of a
crafter.
woman.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the crafter. And then the portrayal of a woman is super blonde, super pale, wearing
an apron.
an apron and
Yes,
holding a bag. Like, what?
man the crafter, woman the shopper.
The shopper and I guess the cooker. Like,
The cooker, and
I
I
don't
guess
know. I don't
I
know.
yeah, it's kind of.
It's kind of painfully cringy.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of painfully cringy. I mean, we have to remember that this is 1991 we're looking at,
Yeah,
and that's quite. I mean, whatever you want. There's, of course, there had been a couple of feminist waves already, but um,
yeah, but it
I
was not in the gaming culture by
no,
any stretch of the
no,
imagination.
no, no, exactly, clearly not. So this is definitely an image of woman the shopper.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting that actually now le- I will bring up again this preview from Alan Emrich,
Yeah, sure.
because we've one of the things that we talk about often in our public talks about civilization is that whether it's political or not, and whether back then it was political or not. And now we're saying, oh, it's cringe-worthy the way it portrays this woman. It is actually like it's pretty politically incorrect, right? So in the preview by Alan Emrich, it he makes a point about the game being too politically correct and too hip for its time. And one of these things is that uh, Sid Meier chose to remove the superhighway Wonder in order to put in its place the women's suffrage. And it says and Alan says, while women's suffrage is a novel concept for its effect during gameplay, it is also another brick in the wall of political correctness. So a game that we are discussing as very conservative, but yeah, it's the 89. It's there, where you were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can actually see it. Wait, yes.
Yeah, I can see
Ah,
it.
yes. Yeah, you can.
I
But
can see it. I can
people
see it.
people in the stream cannot just yet.
But they will be able to. Page
Yeah,
86.
86. All
No,
right.
no, not 86. Page no, 2 pages. 80. Page 90. Page 90.
All right.
And then it's
So
at the
let me
top.
see. I
You
think
hold it
actually
at the
in
top.
the let me just quickly set up something on OBS really quickly. A window capture over here. The window capture, but the display capture. Boom. Another display capture. So maybe Civ itself will just be enough. Boom. Yes. Okay. All right. There it is. So this is the sneak preview of Civilization. This is just absolutely. So I mean, this is a bit of gaming history just by itself, right? I mean, just look at it. Let me just actually go for a lace mode. Actually, oops.
Just zoom in a bit and it should be fine. There we go. Yeah. This is, of course, the. There we go. That's
making the best of all possible worlds.
Yeah.
A preview of Sid Meier's Civilization.
Yeah.
And well, we can now. There's clearly there was already quite an advanced build at that time, because we can recognize a lot of the things that were just in there. Still.
Yeah. Well, this was basically the preview game, so it was the preview game that was given to Alan a bit before release. So it was pretty much finished at the point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 89, right? And this.
Oh yeah, true.
So in 91 it came out.
No, it's not 89. 89 is the issue number of the.
Oh, all right.
So it's 1991 still.
Okay, clearly. Sorry. Thanks for clearing that up, Aris. So, I mean, this is just worthwhile just reading yourself all of it.
I will put the link again for down in the chat for this, so you can download it yourself if you'd like.
Here it is: political correctness. Civilization also strives to be a hip game and deals with popular social issues from the standpoint of political correctness.
Yeah, which is like pain. Yeah.
Global warming is a tremendous threat, one that is all too often realized in the beta version. I honestly don't know what Alan Emmerich's playstyle was like, because you have to, work kind of hard to go for global warming.
I think based also on reading the guide, very like economy focused kind of player.
Yeah, exactly. Odd for such a recent improving theory.
Yeah.
And
this is also interesting. Like the evolution is expressed in the game's introduction,
yes,
but at least that has been around for some time, and you're like, what?
Oh, evolution is expressed as like,
yeah, it's expressed.
It kind of is the whole deal of this game, but okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then at the top of the middle column, you can see the comment.
Even the beta test Superhighway Wonder of the World gave way to women's suffrage. While women's suffrage is a novel concept for its effect during gameplay, it's also another brick in the wall of political correctness.
Yeah. To which point you start questioning. By the way, we have to note Alan Emrich that we've been. So we have the guide, we have this article. Alan Emrich is the guy who coined the term 4X.
It's actually, he coins it not in here, I think.
Not in this one. I think I can really quickly find the other.
Yes, you find the other one, and then I will explain. I will explain to GA why evolution connects. So in Emmerich's thinking, it is not that pollution connects to evolution. No, it's basically global warming is an unproven theory, and another theory under debate, at least according to Emmerich, is the theory of evolution.
Yeah.
which is sort of clearly like put to the fore in the intro that we just saw in the beginning of the stream. Well, halfway during the stream when we finally fix this thing. So, and that debate has been around a while. So the debate of global warming, which actually by that time had been around for quite a while already, since mid 70s, it was sort of already a thing. Uh, and pollution in general.
It's 1993. I think I'm
That's where
almost there.
yeah.
I'm almost getting it. So the term 4X was coined by Alan Emrich later than
It,
civilization. So in 1993, when he was reviewing, or rather previewing, another Micropose game, um, which was yeah. So
is
it was
that
called
do you have
Master of Orion.
the page for me? Page number?
Yes, it's 92, 92, 93.
So Mike, okay, there we go.
There you go.
All right, so this is
Strategic space opera rated XXXX, and then it says quadruple X in the first section, or the second section rather, and that's where he comes up
yeah, exactly. I give
with
so Mu, which is interesting because Mu was already another term, but Master of Orion, okay, because Mu's were this multiplayer online. Wait, multiplayer
oh,
on.
that's MMO. You're confused with.
No.
Was
Lambda
that?
Amu was a multiplayer online, not
I'm not
what?
sure.
Yeah. Because Lambda Mu is the Mu multiplayer online, not dungeon, because that was the mud, but the Mu online. Okay, so what was it again? Oh yes, mud. So multi-user dungeon, object oriented was already a game
Ah,
term.
okay.
But whatever, this is completely going beyond any
Yeah.
scope that we have to do with doesn't matter. We're having fun. So,
But yeah, so quadruple X.
Master of Orion was a quadruple X game in which you basically explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. In other words, players must rise from humble beginnings, finding their way around the map while building up the largest, most efficient empire possible.
Yeah.
I think this is actually not the first time that he uses this 4X thing.
So he clearly had the term already there, because it says that it's, according to him, it's like the essential for access for any good strategic computer game. And Alan Emrich was a board game designer for strategy board games. So he already had probably the idea, but it's the first time that the term is recorded publicly.
Yeah, publicly, yeah. So it's actually in published form.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Anyway, that's where 4X comes from. So this 4X genre that is definitely now making a bit of a comeback is you know kind of maybe not a comeback, but is being reinvented with games such as Humankind and the other Old World. Sort of that genre has been invented by Sid Meier, but the term for the name for that genre has been coined by Alan Emrich.
Yeah.
These two, well, Alan Emrich certainly is a very colorful character,
Very.
yes. And one, Sid Meier is of course a very influential character in computing design. Alan Emrich, not so much, but that doesn't say that he doesn't have interesting thoughts on these things. Not always right, but definitely interesting. No. So, let's play a little bit more, Ares, of Civ. And then after that, we probably want to, get... wrap up at some point. Yeah. So, I know that page up and page down work, but the problem is I don't have a num keypad over here. Orders go to could actually still work as well. Go to, nice. All right. So this could always go horribly wrong with the with the AI, because pathfinding was,
Of
of
course.
course, kind of a thing.
By the way, since we were talking about Alan Emrich, he has also written a post that you can find in the web archive that is about the decline of strategy guides in 2008. And one of his biggest beefs of the late first decade of 2000 of the O's was actually the failing of game developers to provide comprehensive guides for their players, which says a lot about him being kind of stuck in the old ways.
Yeah, I think so. I think because especially in 2008, you didn't really need those comprehensive guides because you already had the internet.
Well, as I said, I still bought my last guide in 2004, so
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you could. In fact, I bought a guide much later. I think I bought a guide for Diablo 3 or something like that.
a guide for Diablo 3. I mean, I've seen them. I know they exist. I would never. Although I'm pretty sure there are people who collect them.
Yeah, so I think it was because I was just very hyped for the game and I just wanted to know more about it, and it actually came out before the game.
Okay, sure.
I think that maybe that was it. As well as basically when Diablo 3 was first launched, nobody knew what the hell was going on
Yeah,
because all the rules of Diablo 2 were out of the window.
yeah.
Talking about rules and out of the window, that's something that I want to get into next stream. Is this
Mm,
idea of what stays in the Civilization series and what goes? But
yeah, sure.
let's get into that for the next stream because there's just already so
Because we
much.
played only 3 turns.
And that too, and there's so many. So we were kind of lucky with this turn. So we actually have a skilled mercenaries. That's really good. So that kind of means that I'm actually gonna just quickly save this game right now.
Make sure that we keep them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I was kind of should I save before I enter this village, and because things could go horribly wrong. But
But they didn't.
I no, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't want to save scum too much. All right, let's just. I guess we're just gonna move with this militia a little bit around, but not too far. But with this dude, we're gonna just range a little bit.
I like how they are on horses as well.
Horses with red eyes. These very
Horses with red eyes, and they're
fire,
wearing some kind of blue armor.
and they have this little spear thingy. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can have a little look because this is military unit is called or what is it called again?
Milice? I don't think it's there, right?
No, it should be cavalry.
Oh yeah. Look at this image.
Oh my lord.
It looks like he's wearing a pun on his head.
Yes, it does look like. There comes the cavalry. So, all right, men have been training and taming and riding horses for millennia. Beginning with, Wiki corrects me on when the first horse was domesticated, Aris. Beginning,
You want actual horse or you want horse-like?
give me all of it.
I'll give you all of it.
Beginning with the tribesmen of the Asian plains. The value of the horse in combat was quickly realized, as the mounted warrior coming on at a gallop had a dramatic effect on the resolve of those in his path. Mounted warriors, known as cavalry, were not only useful in battle as shock troops, but could follow up a victory by pursuing the losers and finishing the rout. The horse gave cavalry power, imposing size and speed. Nathan Bedford Forrest, a Confederate general, okay then, is credited with saying that victory usually went to the fastest with the mostest, and usually the cavalry were first. Wow, wow! I actually I'm learning things here.
That is
From the wisdom of Confederate generals.
yeah, that is intense.
So okay, hit me with the first domesticated horse.
So the first domesticated horse is actually not really clear. We don't really know when when horses were first domesticated.
So yeah, we find horse remains for a long time already, but that's for food.
Yes, and of course we have a lot of representation of horses um, in art, in cave art, right?
Right.
So
But they were
it
not
might
they were not riding those.
no, they were not. We don't know if they were like we're talking about 30,000 BC, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we don't even know to what extent they were domesticated. We do know. So there is this the donkey like the uh, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Onager onager.
Onager, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that we have very early representations of as well in the Middle East and in Asia in general. So from paintings in North Iraq and so on. And it might be that they tried to tame it. It's not good for riding. It's good for hunting it. And it might be that it was the first type of um, equidays that were used for chariots. But this is not necessarily clear.
A donkey chariot, basically.
Yeah,
Well,
basically, yeah.
the onager now is a very rare animal, actually. I think,
Yeah,
right?
it
Yeah,
is. It
nearly
is very,
extinct.
yes.
But the wild donkey, I think maybe it's called. I honestly don't remember. But anyway,
I think
but
they still call it
the onager, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but well, okay. We don't really know when the horse was domesticated.
No.
That I didn't expect, but cool. I'm sure that this is one of those things that people in white coats most likely are trying to solve now through the puzzle in the horse DNA.
I
Um,
mean, we do know that by about 3500 BC, it was probably already domesticated.
yeah, yeah, seems likely.
Yeah.
But here, I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? So we have here the cavalry as the embodiment of. So it's not the horseman as it is actually ends up being in later civilizations. This unit is
No,
called the horseman, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Horseman, yeah. And but here it's called the cavalry. Of course, taken from and in this case also very much definitely. I think we're actually even looking at a maybe at a Confederate cavalry unit. I'm not entirely sure. Could be if you look at the costume. I'm not or at the uniform.
I would say it's probably Confederate.
Yes, right. Kind of. This
Confederate cavalry. Yeah, it definitely. So Confederate cavalry had this more grayish, but I guess the generals of the Confederate cavalry had this more black. Um,
yeah.
I'm not exactly sure,
So
or
probably.
if it's not.
I mean, we you can't really say, of course, one way or the other. But it's interesting. It's interesting that so right now nowadays this is one of those things that would not happen in a civilization game anymore.
No,
That we would, um, you know, say like, "Hey, listen, look what this cool Confederate general actually said." Um,
no. I
but
mean, Union cavalry scouts also were wearing black.
yeah, I mean,
Mm,
as I said, who knows? But I think one of the things we shouldn't underestimate is that, of course, it doesn't really matter, but that
no,
a lot of people were already playing games that, such as North and South. This is a very famous video game about the Civil War as well. So that it was very differently conceptualized as it is nowadays.
yeah.
Anyway, uh, so requires horseback riding. Duh. Um, I would have gone. By the way, I have to look up if horseback riding when we actually will discover it, whether it's in the Macmillan World History Fact Finder.
You
I
can
would have.
check out the thing I've sent you in Slack from Wikipedia for a cavalry recruits wanted.
Recruits wanted. All right. Let me. I don't know.
It might not even be. Yeah, it's probably Civil War.
All right. Now we're gonna. All right. Let me have a little look. Um,
The famous cavalry coming to the rescue to save the settlers from the Indians, tied back to the other imagery. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks. In fact, it very much almost looks like they went for this dude because it has the
If
same
you,
the same
i-
color horse.
yeah, and if did you look at the post? Did I send you the poster as well, or
No, the poster I don't think you did. Or did
oh,
you?
wait? Oh, you click the image. No, click the link.
Oh, sorry. Let me just. Whoops. Boom. Show more. Okay, there we go. Whoops. So. Oh, that's the one you wanted. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, it does look like
it looks
just
very much.
like a little bit. I mean, every cavalry unit looks the same in the end, but
They're all on a horse.
they're all on a horse.
So
Exactly.
it's not necessary that it's Confederate. It might be Union. It might be Union because I see most Confederate attire being more grayish and more Union being black. So it might be that we're looking at nitpicking. Nitpicking.
Nitpicking here, nitpicking. Interesting. Just it's just these interesting things that are.
Yeah, RDS is. Yeah, Confederate would be gray indeed, 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 indeed.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyway, let's get this dude back to baking, and this one is gonna go explore. Whoops. Oh, planes. No, that's not what I wanted. All right. So this, like the camera tracking units, was always a bit awkward in Civilization 1. You had
yeah,
to
weird.
really work for it yourself. All right.
It's the case with a lot of early games. You actually have to
Do
to go through the motions. I mean, we have to say that camera handling in Civilization 6 is also not necessarily the best.
no. As we remarked a couple of times while we were playing it. So let's see. Oh, that's going well. That's actually going quite well.
Yeah, yeah. And
I
we
mean,
have some food in our storage and everything.
yeah, yeah. So one of the things that, man, I think the way that you actually settlers, you also needed to improve the land around your city. So it's one of those things that you had to sort of think of, like, am I gonna use settlers for that or not? But I think we're just gonna try and found another city very soon. So it's kind of empty here. That's nice. Come on, you sir. All right, wish me luck. Yes. Ooh, that's kind of
Scrolls of Ancient Wisdom.
the wheel.
Okay.
One of the 5 great simple machines, the wheel and axle greatly increased the load that a human or animal could pull by lowering the resistance to movement. The wheel was also quickly turned into a weapon of war after its invention, especially in the adaptation of the chariot. In addition to its use in transport, the wheel became a vitally important tool in engineering and in the industrial age. In the pre-Columbian New World, the wheel only appeared in children's toys, partly because of the mountainous terrains of South America made it less practical.
Mm.
That last reasoning here is like, if you say so, it's like I'm not entirely sure that's what it is, because there's also plenty of places in in
Yeah.
America that are not mountainous.
Yeah. I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah, so the link here that's being made is basically like the most advanced civilizations were in South America.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hence,
I guess so.
didn't really need it, because you're not gonna use it in mountains,
No, exactly.
which is a fair point, I guess. But
Yeah.
um, let me actually quickly see if the wheel as an advance is also sort of in here, because I don't think it is. The only thing that kind of is interesting here is that the
It is. Of course it is. It's one of the first ones. We should already
no, I
have it,
mean,
right?
what do you mean? Sorry, in the Macmillan World History
Oh,
Fact Find.
oh,
We have the
okay,
wheel.
okay.
We have the wheel now.
Yeah.
So no, but actually, um, it doesn't talk about the wheel. It talks about chariots.
Hmm.
Um, so in 1700 BC, um, uh, according to this particular book, the Macmillan World Historical Fact Finder. Let me quickly get rid of Slack because that's kind of annoying me. So in 1700,
Hey, Eleanor is here. Hey, Eleanor.
hey guys, hey sir. So in 1700 BC, the Indo-European expansion of this area is associated with the appearance of the two-wheeled war chariot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 1700 BC. This was never a very effective weapon, but it was a great way of emphasizing status, and for this reason remained in use to the end of antiquity. So that's in this book, and I want to just point out that in fact they have this little, and I don't have a PDF of this, otherwise I would have used that. But the little symbol for discovery and invention, as you can barely read over here, but
Yeah,
the little
which is
symbol
a wheel.
is actually a wheel. So
Yeah.
so that's probably steered the thinking of Sid quite a bit.
Yeah. And also interestingly in the guide, it says the wheel was being used as early as the 4th millennium BC, as evidenced by a picture found on a clay tablet at the ancient city of Uruk. The use of wheel technology meant that beasts of burden would no longer have to pull dead weight or sledges behind them. Instead, the wheel provided for more efficient use of the animal's drayage power. In the ancient world, oxen were usually used to pull the wagons because the two-wheel designs had a tendency for the wagons to try to tip one way or another, and hence the broad-back oxen were more capable of holding up the load and stabilizing it without getting injured or losing the whole load on its side. Which is an interesting observation. Of course,
It is
it
an
would
interesting.
tip.
It would tip, yes. So for the newcomers to our stream, this is a book, the very first strategy guide to civilization, written by Alan Emmerich and I forget his name again. I'm horrible with names.
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson, and Civilization or Rome on 640k a day. So
Yeah.
640k meaning the memory, the RAM available to you, the read available memory in your computer that you would need for playing something like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of crazy. So I was just referring to the Macmillan World Historical Fact Finder, and in the Civilopedia, actually, come on, give me the Civilopedia. We have so we have the chariot. Actually, I think yes, there it is. And so in the World Historical Fact Finder, it said the chariot was never a very effective weapon, but it was a great way of emphasizing status. And here it says the chariot was the first true fighting vehicle. It was used by the armies of antiquity to transport archers and other troops to the battlefield, where they would then disembark to actually fight. The chariot was turned into a fearsome offensive weapon by the Assyrians, whose archers and spearmen fought from the car of the chariot itself. Few enemy armies were able to withstand the onslaught of a host of Assyrian chariots, and this devastating weapon was soon adopted by many of the Assyrians' enemies and used against them with good effect. So clearly, Sid Meier has read the World Historical Fact Finder and said, like, hey, this is kind of interesting. Let's put chariots in there. But he didn't sort of agree with the fact that chariots were basically, and I quote once again, never a very effective weapon, but a great way of emphasizing status.
Yeah.
Which is the opinion of Colin McAvity, the writer of this World History Fact Finder. So it's interesting to see that even if there's a lot of inspiration coming from this book, this very, very book,
And
he clearly still disagreed.
Do you want an interesting trivia here?
Yeah.
The Civilopedia entry for Chariot in Civilization 4 is almost identical to the one of Civilization 1.
Okay.
Talking about the Assyrians whose archers and spearmen fought from inside the chariot itself. So it's almost identical. And then if you go to Civilization 5 in the Civilopedia entry, it actually does not reference Assyrians at all, and rather it says the Egyptians were early masters of the chariot, and their war chariots were rightly feared by their opponents. The pharaohs themselves often went into battle aboard war chariots. And then keeps talking about the Egyptians, never wants to reference the Assyrians.
the Assyrians, because the Assyrians were kind of the first ones with war chariots, right? At least
Yeah.
in the
Well,
in
we have earlier chariots as well. The Assyrian war chariot is indeed a little bit later, maybe, than the Egyptian war chariot. At least as we see it in some depictions from Egypt.
hmm,
But earlier iterations of war chariot as a trampling kind of device do exist.
right. All right. Cool. All right. Let's play one more turn.
Yes, let's play one more turn.
All right. I don't want to range too far with this little Deuterino, but I do want to see if there's. So I think over here there's going to be some good places to. Can I actually? No, I won't be able to go there with my.
Good night, JA. We will also be heading off soon.
Yes, very soon indeed. All right. This is going to be dangerous, Aris. I'm gonna enter this village. It could be. It's could spell disaster for.
Oh shit. Do it.
Oh no, not too bad. Valuable metal deposits worth 50. That's good.
We've been rolling
We've been very lucky. Very
rolling
lucky.
high, yeah.
Because this is all randomly decided.
Yeah,
Huh?
randomly generated.
So I think we have to soon have a little think of where we're gonna bring up our new settler to.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I think, is gonna be a good spot.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks very good. Looks very good. A lot of horses and even access to the sea still. And
Not really access to a river, so maybe in the south as well at that little
yeah,
river.
rivers are not very. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was thinking maybe actually explore over here a little bit.
Yeah, explore over there. Maybe that we can get actually a better
Oops.
spot.
All right. So this, of course, never really changes. So here's the defense minister. So interestingly, I guess. So this is really this Khanat, like golden horde kind of dude, right? With his
Yeah.
stepper horseman kind of helmet, and
Yeah,
there's
this is sort of stereotypically
the
tribe.
tribes,
Tribe.
the tribes,
Yeah.
exactly the tribes of the Central Asian steppes, basically.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that. So all right, so as you can see, now we're by ourselves again, and so we've shipped or woman the shopper into well, not a carriage, but basically
Something.
whatever it's, what is this called again? Like a wagon train. That's what it's called.
A wagon.
A
Yeah.
wagon train. So let's build in Peking. Let's build a granary. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for a granary because that will allow us to grow our people a lot quicker, or city a lot quicker. So, let's quickly
Get there. Yeah, get there. Let's see.
I think in the interest of like min-maxing, I think we just have to move it here.
Yeah. I mean, you're the C1 expert.
I think I think because we can always move south still later, and this is actually a pretty good spot. With so you have to sort of calculate two little spots from over there. So
Yeah.
if you're there, then you have one of these C squares, which is, these are not very good at all.
Is it a C square or is it a big river square?
No, this is the C. This is Japan that we're looking at over here.
Okay.
But we will have these two really good production-based things, and of course the horses as well.
Yeah.
So this is
a relevant early game.
So yeah, and because we want that. If we go here, we don't have the horse, so I guess we just want to go there. Well, actually, I kind of forgot how to select units in cities, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. It just comes up by itself. Yes, sir, over there. Oops.
Is this mountain range Himalaya?
This mountain range is indeed the Himalaya. Yes. Oh, Peking can't support. Oh, I forgot. Oh shit! Completely forgot about this. That is a pity. I forgot about this.
Oh no!
I forgot about this mechanic.
Painful.
Kind of painful. So sometimes you actually get units from these villages that have no city allegiance. But this case, it was bound to Peking, which is kind of annoying, but it's also what happens. I mean, we got this unit for free. We actually did a bit of exploring with it. The alternative would have been not to build a settler, which is not what we would have gone for. So, I mean, it just means that after the granary, we quickly want to build some more military strength to go scouting, because now we are down to 1 unit, of course. So, all right. Anyway, let's keep on moving with... I forgot about this very annoying little game feature in that it's sort of, if you can't move there, it actually tells you the information of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of freaking annoying. But anyway, that's what it is. Okay. Boom. And boom. So I think we made a good call in not moving.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that we could have done, we couldn't have really done anything. This didn't work out with the with the cavalry. Too bad.
No, it's fine.
Okay. No, right, no, sleep. Shit. I forgot. Don't sleep.
Wake up.
Wake up. Build, of course. So Shanghai.
Yes.
So we have our little settlers arriving. And
there they are.
We are.
Interestingly, they have horses.
Interestingly, they have horses from the early stone. Interestingly, we have these teepees.
Yeah.
As the, and I never really understood I guess this is just because this is not the capital or something. I never really understood why this had to be different.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea, but I also don't. It seems like superfluous because you have to make this art twice. But okay, yeah. So I guess. I'm gonna build a militia here because we kind of need to make sure that we can actually defend from something.
Yeah, if something comes.
And after that we have to really also. No, militia. We have to quickly go for some phalanx as well. We will get there. So let me just do a bit more, because this will still take a long time, the granary. But it's kind of an important thing to have. Okay. All right. This. Do you remember this?
No.
So in Civilization 1, you have this castle and this palace. And if people like you, they will build you parts of this palace. So if you do really well, you have this really expensive palace, and it doesn't do anything. It's just mostly flavor. So
yeah, interesting.
So you get to say, hey, which section shall we go for? And I always went for the main section first.
Yeah. And
you get to choose what style you want to go for.
Yeah. And of course, there are only 3 styles that ever existed.
There are only 3 styles, and one is basically European medieval.
Yeah.
2 is classical, and 3rd is, broadly speaking, Oriental.
Yeah, very broadly speaking, Oriental.
So I suggest we make this choice now, and afterwards we save, and
all right.
Then call it a day.
All right.
So
in the interest of playing Chinese, let's go for the broadly Oriental.
Broadly.
Although it has nothing to do with Chinese architecture.
No, I think in fact, if you want to say that something looks more Chinese, it's probably number one.
It is
Because
probably number one.
the fortress cities, the fortress towns of the early, basically the early China were.
Yeah, it would make more sense, I
All
guess.
right, let's go for one.
Okay.
Woo!
Great.
Great.
A wall.
A wall, yes. All right. So let's save. All right. So we haven't got a clue if this save is still there next time we play.
We surely hope so. Hopefully next time we're not gonna have as many technical problems in the beginning as we had.
Yeah.
And
if we do, well, hey,
please bear with us.
Bear with us. We're trying to play a very old game here. But we're having fun with it. I mean, it's this thing takes me back. That's for sure.
We're definitely gonna have a ton of fun playing this, and we have a lot of things to talk about still. So
and a lot of ground literally to cover.
A lot, an entire Earth.
Yes, we'll be back on Thursday to play
Dawn of Man.
Exactly, a game that's kind of similar to Civilization in many ways, but it's basically before Civilization. So time to go for us. It's late here in the Netherlands. If you joined us for the very first time during the stream,
thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining. Please come back. We'll do much more of this slow, deep thinking of Civilization and other games over the coming weeks, months, years. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
So come back and let us know what you like, whether you like this or not. You can do this via the YouTube comments, or you can hit us up on Twitter, or you can find us in our value-foundation.org. You can find a website. You can find there's so many ways to get in touch with us, because we do love to hear from you. Because aside from having a bit of fun with the game and doing research while we're doing that, we also are doing this sort of stuff for you out there, or our future past person. All right. Thanks. See you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Stay happy and, of course, stay healthy.